Hey, this is Drew Holcomb singing a song called What Would I Do Without You from my upcoming album Good Light, and you're watching A-Sides Music. Sometimes I wake up with the sadness, other days it feels like madness. So what would I do without you? When colors turn to shades of gray with the weight of the world at the end of the day, oh, what would I do without you? A decade goes by without a warning. There's still a kindness in your eyes. Amidst the questions and the worry, a peace of mind always takes me by surprise. I feel like I'm walking with eyes as blind as a man without a lantern in a coal mine. Oh, what would I do without you? My imagination gets the best of me, and I'm trying to hide, lost at sea. Oh, what would I do without you? The difference between what I've said and done, and you're still standing by my side. A guilty soul and a worried mind. I would never make it if I'm on my own. So you got the sunshine, I got rain clouds, you got hope, I got my doubts. So what would I do without you? You got the morning, I got midnight, you are patient, I'm always on time. What would I do without you? Oh, what would I do without you?
That was a beautiful song, by the way. And I know that you're a new dad, so congrats as a relatively new dad myself. Yeah. So you've been at this game for a while, and talk to me a little bit about this new album, because I think, I'm guessing the songwriting experience is a little different this time around with all the craziness going, the good crazy going on in your life. So
yeah, well, it was a great year personally. I turned 30 this year. My wife and I welcomed our first child into the world. Her name's Emmy Lou, named after Emmy Lou Harris, which is pretty fun. So I've been doing this for, like you said, for a long time, about 9 years. And you know, I think some artists, come out of the gate knowing like what they want to do with themselves musically, and some don't. It takes a while to kind of figure out what it is, and that I definitely fall in that category. Just this whole process of writing this record felt like, for the first time, that I was able to really push out all the other voices, that said, hey, you need to make a record that sounds like this, or your songs need to be this way, and thinking about the commercial success or all those things, I was able to just push all that away and say, look, I know I've been able to carve out a living doing this, so I can make a record that I want to make.
Mm-hmm.
And so I wrote about 40 songs in about 7 or 8 months, and kind of eventually whittled it down to the 11 that made the record. So it's really been an incredibly satisfying process for me. It's the first record that I now that I have it finished, I feel like I have to like prove it to people, like, hey, you really need to hear this. I feel more like, hey, this is me, this is my record, I hope you like it.
Cool. Now, does the whole album basically play as like almost a soundtrack of the craziness preparing for fatherhood, or not so much?
I don't know. I think
because someone should make that album.
Yeah. I think it's yeah, that's true. I think for me, the kind of theme of the record would be, and I think this has a lot to do with becoming a father, just the the reality of like how do you find like meaning and joy in our lives that are kind of marked with like disappointment or suffering and pain. And thinking about my daughter, the fact that she's like gonna have to be this like innocent you know person, and then kind of as she gets older, life will kind of happen to her, and pain will happen. I remember I was at a Broken Social Scene concert one time in San Francisco, and he had the whole crowd yell, yell for all the love you found and the love you've lost and the people you've hurt and the ones who've hurt you, and just that tension that we have as people of living and trying to like find dreams and do something valuable with our life, but also having to deal with the reality that things don't go as you want them to.
Right.
And I think that's really the theme of the record for me. The last song on the record is called Tomorrow, and the first song, the first line is nothing ever turns out like you thought it would. I love that kind of Conan thing where he says nothing will go like you think it will, but if you work hard and you're kind, great things will happen to you.
Right.
And I think that for me, I found a lot of satisfaction in the trial of trying to make a living doing what you love for the last decade, and spending my 20s kind of bearing that burden. And it feels like in some ways an arrival in the sense of I know that I can do it and make a living at it, but I also just have come to embrace that the struggle and the disappointment and the successes, and kind of dealing with those is part of the whole process that makes it worth doing.
Now, did you get any of this, like, it seems like you had an epiphany when you turned 30. Is that safe to say or no? Because when I turned 30, I was waiting for an epiphany, and just my 30th birthday was just another shitty day.
Yeah.
So I was just like, oh, this is just like your 20s, except you're older.
Yeah, well, there's a little bit of that. I actually, on my 30th birthday, my sister lives down in Central America. Yeah. And so I was in Panama, and the day I turned 30, I was fishing with my brother and brother-in-law on the Panama Canal. And it was just it was a fun day, but it wasn't like, we were just fishing, sitting on the Panama Canal, went swimming in the Panama Canal. I was like, well, I'm 30. But I do think that there was I don't know if it was because I'm 30 or in spite of it or because of it, but there definitely seems like this year was like, I don't know, there comes a point I feel like, as an adult where you quit, at least for me, you quit trying to do everything for other people's approval, and you start to realize that you want to create something for the pleasure of creating it, and not for the pleasure of other people's reaction to it. And that, it's funny, I feel like that has really freed me and the band up to make the music that we want to make.
Right.
And then go home with a satisfied mind, So.
Speaking of going home with a satisfied mind, I mean, you actually are in a band. You not only make babies with your wife, you make music. Do you like that for a segue?
Yeah,
it's all right.
Okay.
It'll work, right?
That's right. It's true.
He doesn't only make babies with his wife.
Babies in a world.
In a world. Drew. Yeah. Anyway, but what's that like? I mean, has that changed at all? Like, I guess since the baby's arrival, or when your wife was pregnant, has the dynamic changed at all?
Well, I think the thing that's interesting for me is watching. My favorite part of marriage so far has just been watching her be a mom, and I think she would probably say the same for me. And we have taken our daughter on the road with us, and we'll continue to do so. And I just think it just. Learning to work together over the last 6 years, touring together, being in a band together, has been, like anything, is just a roller coaster, and it's paid great dividends. I mean, we've spent more time together in the last 6 years than probably most married couples do. Or,
I'm sure.
People in a relationship do for, a decade or two. So we really have learned how to get along with each other and how to give each other space. And yeah, I think the baby thing just feels like another thing, a piece of glue for us to kind of hey, we're in this thing together, and we're, kind of like the song's saying. I mean, I think about my life in the last decade, and I'm just pretty, I would be pretty confused in a much different place if it wasn't for that partnership that we have, and the encouragement that we find there.